Hello students, good morning. Today we are going to discuss with the third chapter of your geometrical section, that is parallel lines. Okay, in this parallel lines we are going to the first session we will discuss some angles formed in the parallel lines by the transversal. So what do you mean by the transversal? How the transversal will be intersect the parallel lines and how it will make the angles in the parallel lines. Okay, let we will discuss one by one. Before going to the angles formed by the parallel lines, you already learnt in the previous classes. So the same concept will be repeated in the previous class, right? So what do you mean by the parallel lines? Parallel lines means the two lines which do not meet even we are extending on both sides. The two lines which do not meet at one particular point even we are extending on both sides. So these type of the lines are called as parallel lines. Can you give the examples for parallel lines? For example, the two rods which are existing in the window. Just observe the windows. In the rods of the windows do not intersect, right? First one. And second one, in your notebook, ruled book, you are observing the lines which are existing in your plain sheet, right? So these lines will not be intersect even we are extending on both sides. And one more example is railway tracks. Railway tracks will not be intersect. The two tracks remain in the same distance. The two tracks will be remain in the same distance. They will not be intersect each other. So these type of the lines are called as parallel lines. So parallel lines means the two lines which do not intersect or which do not meet at one particular point even we are extending on both sides. Here for example, I will take two parallel lines. AB and CD are the two parallel lines. AB and CD are the two parallel lines. Even we are extending these lines on both sides, they will not be intersect each other. They will not be intersect each other. And the distance between these two parallel lines remains same, right? So the distance between the line AB and CD is remains same. They will not be intersect each other. Even we are extending on both sides. Either you can extend left side or right side, they will not be meet at one particular point. For example, here these two are the lines AB and CD. If I extend one side, they will meet at one point. Or just see these two lines. If I extend these two lines L and M, if I extend these two lines on the left side, they will meet at one particular point. So this is the point of intersection of the two lines, but these lines will not be considered as a parallel lines. So parallel line means what? The two lines will not be intersect each other even we are extending on both sides. Okay, and these parallel lines can be represented by the symbol like this. This is the symbol to represent the parallel lines. Like this we will denote the parallel lines. For example, here AB and CD are the two lines are there, no? So this can be written as AB is parallel to CD, or we can also write it as the line CD is parallel to AB, because the first line is parallel to second one, the second one is parallel to first one. So these two are parallel to each other. If I take one more line, for example, L, M, N, O, all the four lines are parallel So how you can going to represent these lines? L is parallel to M. The line L is parallel to M, and the M is parallel to M. N is parallel to O. So all the given lines are parallel. All the given lines are parallel here. Okay. So by using this symbol, we will represent the parallel lines. Next, now you will get some idea about the parallel lines. So parallel line means the two lines which do not intersect each other, even we are extending on both sides, right? So these parallel lines will make some angles by intersecting a third line. For example, here AB and CD are the two lines are there, no? AB and CD are the two parallel lines. If these two parallel lines intersect by the another line, this line is considered as a P. The parallel line AB and CD is intersected by the third line P. So this will form four angles at point of intersection. Here you are observing the line P is intersect AB at point M. Whether you can take here M or P or Q, whatever it may be. Just denote this intersecting point from any one alphabetical letter. So the line M, the line P intersect AB at point M. Again the same line, when we are extending, it will intersect the CD line at point N. Here M and N are the two intersecting points. M and N are the two intersecting points, and it will form the four angles at point of intersection. Here you are observing 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Again, when it intersects the third line or second line, it will form four angles. Here 5, or you can so take it as 1, 2, 3, 4. So when two lines are intersect each other, it will form four angles. You already learnt in the previous class, no? Vertically opposite angles, right? When two lines are intersect at one common point, it will form a vertically opposite angles. In vertically opposite angles, the opposite angles are equal. For example, here if I take this line as a AB and this line as a CD, means angle AOD, which is equal to angle COB. Angle, what is that first angle? Angle AOD, which is equal to angle BOC, and second pair is angle AOC, which is equal to angle BOD or DOB, angle DOB. So these are the four angles formed at the point of intersection by the intersection of two lines. So now you are getting idea, when two lines are intersect at one particular point, it will form minimum four angles. It will form four angles, and these are the four angles, right? So at point M, the four angles is formed. Again at point N, the four angles is formed on the line CD, right? So these angles are formed by the third line, and this third line is called as a transversal. So transversal means what? How you can define the transversal? The line which intersect two or more parallel lines is called as a transversal. In simple words, we can define it as if two or more parallel lines, for example L, M, N, O, all these lines are parallel lines. If all these lines are intersected by another line, so then this line is called as a transversal. Here A is a line is called as a transversal. So how you can define the parallel transversal? If two or more lines, either you can take 3 lines or 4 lines or 5 lines, right? All the lines should be parallel to each other. So if 2 or more lines intersected by a line at different points, then that line is called as a transversal. Here you are observing the transversal A is intersect at point P, Q, R and S, right? The transversal A is intersect the line L, M, N and O in different points at P, Q, R and S. These are the point of intersection on the parallel lines. So the transversal is a line, it will intersect 2 or more parallel lines. It will intersect 2 or more parallel lines in different points. Here you are observing the different points are P, Q, R and S, and these all are the parallel lines. L is parallel to M, M is parallel to N and N is parallel to O. So all these 4 lines are parallel to each other. Okay. Now you get some idea about the transversal. When the transversal is passes through the parallel line, again it will form angles. At point of intersection it will form 4 angles. Here you are already observing, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4 are the 4 angles which formed at point M. Similarly, at the point of intersection N, again it will form 4 angles, right? So these are the angles formed by the transversal, in the parallel lines. Let's move to the next concept, that is angles formed by the transversal in the parallel lines. Angles formed by transversal. Angle formed by transversal in parallel lines. Okay. Take here 2 parallel lines. L and M. The line L is parallel to M. And P is the transversal, because the line P is intersect or which passes through the 2 parallel lines. If any line which passes through the 2 or more parallel lines, then that line is called as a transversal, right? So here P is a transversal which passes through the 2 parallel lines L and M. It intersect at 2 different points. The 2 parallel lines or the transversal intersect in 2 different points. So these 2 points are considered as a M and N. When it intersect, it will form some angles. It will form totally 4 angles here. First one, these angles will denoting by some numericals. This is first one, and this angle is second one, third one, fourth, and this is fifth, sixth one, seventh one, and last angle 8th one. So For every point of intersection, we are getting 4 angles. Here the transversal is intersected at 2 different points, so it will form totally 8 angles. Now we will classify the 8 angles. We can classify the 8 angles. So how we are going to classify the angles? In that first one, whenever the 2 parallel lines intersected by the third line, that is transversal, it forms certain angles. For example, it will form corresponding angles, alternate angles. Next one, co-interior angles, exterior angles, interior angles. How we are going to classify these angles? First one, exterior angles. Exterior angles. Exterior angles means, exterior means what? Outer part. The angles which are existing in the outer part of the lines are outer part of the inner angles, right? So exterior angles, here L and M are the 2 parallel lines. What are the exterior angles? Exterior angles means which are existing outside the parallel lines. How many exterior angles are there here? Just observe, angle 1, angle 3, angle 7 and angle 8 are the exterior angles. 1, 2, 7 and 8 exterior angles. Why? Because these angles are exterior angles, because all these 4 angles are lying in the outer part of the outside the parallel lines. So these all 4 angles are exterior angles. What are the exterior angles? Angle 1, angle 2, angle 7 and angle 8. Angle 1, 2, 7 and 8. All these 4 angles are exterior angles because they are lying in the outer part of the parallel lines. Okay. Similarly, the next one is interior angles. Interior angles. So interior angle means the angles which are lying between the 2 parallel lines or which existing between the given 2 parallel lines. Here L and M is parallel line, no? In between these 2 parallel lines, what are the angles which are existing between these 2 parallel lines are considered as interior angles. For example, here interior angles are angle 3, angle 3, 4, 5 and 6. Angle 3, 4, 5 and 6. All these 4 angles are interior angles because these all 4 angles are lies in the interior part of the parallel lines or in a inner part of the parallel lines. Okay, exterior angles and interior angles. Exterior angles are lies on the outer part of the parallel lines, whereas the interior angles is lying between the 2 parallel lines. Okay, let's come to the next concept, that is the next type of the angles are alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles. So alternate interior angles, how you are going to identify the alternate interior angles? Basically, the alternate interior angles are formed when the 2 lines are parallel. If 2 lines are parallel, then only we can easily identify the alternate angles. What is the easy method to identify the alternate interior angles? So alternate interior angles are always in the shape of alphabetical Z. This is a Z alphabetical letter, no? So the alternate angles are always in the shape of Z. The Z, it may be in the systematical manner or in the rotational manners. For example, this Z, these two are the alternate angles. This is the first symbol to identify the alternate angles. This one is the second. Again, we can write it as like this also, capital N, right? So this again we can write it like this also. So these type, here these two lines are parallel, these two lines are parallel, here these two lines are parallel. When we are getting two parallel lines, these two parallel lines are intersected by the third line that called it as a transversal, then only we will get alternate angles. Here these two are the parallel lines, means this is act like a transversal, and you are getting here alternate angles, alternate interior angles. Okay, so these are the simple way to identify the alternate angles. Usually alternate angles are in the shape of alphabetical Z. Okay, so what are the alternate interior angles? Alternate interior angles, here you are observing like this: angle 4 and angle 5, angle 4 and angle 5. Angle 4 and angle 5 are the one pair of alternate interior angles, alternate interior angles. And next one, angle 3 and angle 6, angle 3 and angle 6, angle 3 and angle 6. Just observe these two lines. These two angles will form a Z-like shape, right? So angle 3 and angle 6 are the second pair of alternate interior angles. Okay, so in two parallel lines we are getting two pair of alternate interior angles. Next one, alternate exterior angles, alternate exterior angles. How we are going to identify the alternate exterior angles? Here, angle 2 and angle 7, angle 2 and angle 7 are the one pair of alternate angles, angle 2 and angle 7. This is the first pair, right? And angle 1 and angle 8, angle 1 and angle 8 are the second pair of the alternate exterior angles. Okay, alternate exterior angles. How we are going to identify the exterior angles? Here I will take one example. These two are alternate interior angles, right? If I extend this line, what we call this line? Transversal, right? So again these two angles are equal because these two are the alternate exterior angles, alternate exterior angle. If interior angles are equal, means exterior angles also equal. Okay, next one, so this first one is a alternate interior angles and second one is alternate exterior angles. Let's move to the next type of angles, that is corresponding angles. Corresponding angles. So how you are going to identify the corresponding angles? Usually the corresponding angles are in the shape of E or in the shape of F. Here if I take these two as a parallel line, lower angles of the parallel lines, these two are corresponding angles, and here again these two are corresponding angles. For example, in the alphabetical letter E has three parallel lines, right? and this line is act like a transversal. It will intersected three parallel lines, and here we are getting totally three corresponding angles. These two are the corresponding angles, and one more is also corresponding angles. Three upper corresponding angles and three inner corresponding angles. So these three are the inner corresponding angles. We can represent here also. So these are the three inner corresponding angles or lower corresponding angles. Upper corresponding angles and lower corresponding angles. Okay, so these angles is usually identified by the symbol or by the alphabetical letter E and F. Okay, so what are the corresponding upper corresponding angles? When you are going to identify the corresponding angles, the angles should be lies in the same side of the transversal. For example, angle 1 and angle 6 are not a corresponding angles because these two angles on both sides. Angle 1 is existing in the right side of the transversal, whereas angle 6 is existing in the left side part of the transversal, right? Angle 1 is in the right side part of the transversal. Angle 6 is existing in the left side part of the transversal. So these two are not a corresponding angles. Angle 1 and 5. Just observe these two angles. These two angles are on the same side of the transversal. P is a transversal, no? So P is a transversal means angle 1 and angle 5 are the two corresponding angles which are existing in the upper part of the parallel lines. So angle 1 and angle 5 are the corresponding angles. Here angle 1 and angle 5. Next one, once we take the right side part of the transversal, take left side part, upper angles, consider of upper angles only. 2 and 6, angle 2 and 6, right? Angle 1 and 5, angle 2 and 6. Again these two angles are on the same side of the transversal, and two angles are lies in the upper part of the parallel lines, right? So angle 2 and angle 6 are the corresponding angles. If these two pairs are upper corresponding angles means, again we are getting here two more pairs, right? So that two more pairs are lower corresponding angles. Simply we are writing as a corresponding angles. Again we are classified it as a upper corresponding angles and lower corresponding angles, right? So angle 3 and angle 7, angle 3 and angle 7 are lower corresponding angles of one side of the transversal. Similarly, 3 and 7 is the lower corresponding angles, means angle 4 and angle 8 also. Angle 4 and angle 8 is also the second pair of lower corresponding angles. So totally we are getting here 4 pair of corresponding angles, right? When the transversal intersect two parallel lines, it will form 4 pair of corresponding angles. Angle 1 and 5 first pair, angle 2 and 6 second pair, angle 3 and 7 third pair, angle 4 and 8 fourth pair of the corresponding angles. Next one, co-interior angles. Co-interior angles. So co-interior angles means what? The angles which lies between the two parallel lines on the same side of the transversal. For example, here P is a transversal and L and M are the two parallel lines. The two angles which is existing on the same side of the transversal, and the two angles should be lying in the in between the two parallel lines. For example, angle 3 and angle 5 are the co-interior angles. Angle 3 and angle 5. Angle 3 and angle 5 are co-interior angles. Is there any another pair here? Yes, angle 4 and angle 6. If these two are the right side co-interior angles, means then left side co-interior angles are angle 4 and angle 6. Angle 4 and angle 6. So these two are the co-interior angles existing on the same side of the transversal, or you can easily identify these two angles are lies on the right side of the transversal, and angle 4 and angle 6 are the co-interior angles which are lies on the left side of the transversal. Okay, these two are the two pair of the corresponding angles. So these all are the corresponding or angles which is formed by, all these angles are formed in the parallel lines by the transversal only. So in that first one, exterior angles, in the two parallel lines intersected by the third line, that is transversal, it will form all these angles what you are observing here, no? So all these angles are formed when the transversal is intersect the parallel lines. In that first one, exterior angle, second one, interior angles, third one, alternate interior angles, and fourth one, alternate exterior angles, fifth one, corresponding angles, and sixth one, co-interior angles. And all these angles are formed by the transversal, in parallel lines. Okay, so these all angles have some properties. We'll move to the properties of the parallel lines, or properties of parallel lines by the transversal. What are the properties? Listen here, I will explain one by one. First one, the first property is, here we are getting exterior angles and interior angles, corresponding angles. The first property, when two parallel lines intersected by the transversal, it forms corresponding angles. And these corresponding angles are equal. So corresponding angles are equal means angle 1 and angle 7, already discussed here. Angle 1 and angle 5. Angle 1 and angle 5 are equal. Upper corresponding angles are equal. So whenever the two parallel lines intersected by the transversal, the corresponding angles are equal. So angle 1 which is equal to angle 5. If this angle 1 is 60 degree means angle 5 is also 60 degree, right? If angle 1 is x means this is also x. The magnitude of angle 1 is 60 degree means this is also 60. If it is 50 means this is also 50. The corresponding angles are remain constant or remain same. Okay, so angle 1 which is equal to angle 5. Next, one more corresponding angle. Angle 2 and angle 6 are equal. Angle 2 and angle 6 are equal. Can I write once again here? First one, what is that property? If two parallel lines intersected by the transversal, in that corresponding angles are equal. Corresponding angles are equal. When they are equal, the transversal should be passes through the two parallel lines. Keep it in your mind, the transversal should be passes through the two parallel lines, then only the corresponding angles are equal. if I take two non-parallel lines, for example, these two are the non-parallel lines and the third line is intersected the two non-parallel lines, then these two are not equal, because here the line L and M is not a parallel line. L and M are not a parallel lines, so it will not form any corresponding angles. Whenever the transversal is passes through the two parallel lines, it will form the corresponding angles, and all that corresponding angles are equal. For example, here totally we are getting 4 pair of corresponding angles. Angle 1 and angle 5 are equal. Angle 1 is equal to angle 5, whereas next second one, angle 2 is equal to angle 6. Next third pair, angle 4 is equal to angle 8. Angle 4 which is equal to angle 8, because these two are the lower corresponding angles, and one more pair, that is angle 3, which is equal to angle 7. Next, second one, first property, clear? If two parallel lines intersected by the transversal, in that the corresponding angles are equal. So these are the 4 pair of corresponding angles, and all the pairs are equal here. Angle 1 is equal to 5, 2 is equal to 6, 4 is equal to 8, 3 is equal to 7. So all these pairs are equal, right? Let's next property. If two parallel lines L and M, if two parallel lines intersected by the transversal, in which alternate interior angles are equal, For example, here alternate interior angles are angle 4 and angle 5. So alternate interior angles are equal. Angle 4 which is equal to angle 5, angle 4 which is equal to angle 5, angle 3 which is equal to angle 6, angle 3 which is equal to angle 6. Next one, what about the alternate exterior angles? Alternate exterior angles also equal. So alternate exterior angles are equal. Alternate interior angles and alternate exterior angles also equal. So alternate exterior angles are angle 2 which is equal to angle 7, whereas angle 1 is equal to angle 8. These two angles are alternate exterior angles. Angle 1 and angle 8 are alternate exterior angles. So when two parallel lines intersected by the transversal, in that the alternate angles are equal. Next, third property. Third property is, we already completed in corresponding angles, alternate angles. Third property, co-interior angles. When two parallel lines intersected by the transversal, it will form two pair of co-interior angles, right? It will form two pair of co-interior angles, and the sum of two angles is equal to 180 degree. It means the angles formed between the parallel lines on the same side of the transversal are supplementary. Supplementary means equal to 180 degree. So angles in same side of transversal, angles in the same side of the transversal are supplementary. What are the two angles, two pair of angles here? Angle 3 and angle 5. Angle 3 plus angle 5 which is equal to 180 degree. Similarly, angle 4 and angle 6. Angle 4 and angle 6 which is equal to 180 degree. Angle 4 and angle 6. Angle 4 plus angle 6. Angle 3 plus angle 5. Each pair will form supplementary or which is equal to 180 degree. It means sum of these two angles is always equal to 180 degree. If it is, this angle is becomes 100 means this angle is 80 degree. If it is 70 means, and this angle becomes 110 degree, because when you are adding two interior angles, the sum of two interior angles should be always equal to 180 degree. Okay, either the angles is lying on the right side part of the transversal or left side part of the transversal. The angles which are lying on the same side of the transversal is always going to be supplementary. Okay, this is the third property. Next, fourth one, the distance between the two parallel lines remains same. The distance between the two parallel lines, if the distance between the two parallel lines is not equal, means they will be definitely intersect at one point. For example, if I take these two as lines, or just take it as these two are parallel lines, the distance, just observe here, the distance is gradually decreases, right? So as we are extending two lines, it will intersect, right? So in the parallel line, the distance should be same, or the distance between the two parallel lines is always constant. Distance between the fourth one is distance between parallel lines, distance between parallel lines is same, or the distance between the two parallel lines remain constant. For example, here you are observing the angle between the two parallel lines is always 180 degree, right? It means whenever you are going to take two interior angles, two co-interior angles, the sum should be equal to 180 degree, right? If the sum of these two co-interior angles is equal to 180 degree on both sides, means then the two parallel lines are lying in the equal distance, or moving in the equal distance, and they will not be intersect even we are extending on both sides. So these all are the angles formed by the transversal in parallel lines. Okay, in the next class we will discuss some numerical problems which is based on these alternate angles, corresponding angles, co-interior angles, right? We will discuss in the next class some exercise questions. Okay students, be happy, have a nice day.